You're listening to Smark to Death Radio.
Hey everybody, it's the interview queen Alicia Toot here, and you are currently listening to and obviously enjoying Queen's Court.
Alright everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Queen's Court with your girl, the Queen of Any, on Smark to Death Radio. I don't know what I'm going to call this, but I think I'm just going to call it What the What? New Japan Dominion. That's the closest I've got for a title. But I am not alone today. I am joined by the illustrious Mags Allpods. I know he only does 3, but it feels like he does 15. Why we watch 5 rounds, Badlands, fellow Smark to Death colleague and dear friend. Mags, welcome back to the castle.
An absolute pleasure to be on Queen's Court again. I'm not on this show enough for my liking, to be fair.
Well, that's my fault. I guess I'll have to have you on more. But you're here, and I'm so happy you are, because there is so much to talk about with New Japan news. I feel like just 2 months ago, a short 2 months ago, they decided, hey, we're coming back. And we're all like, yay, I'm so excited. And they're like, we're going to give you a Together show. We're going to give you the New Japan Cup. And then we're going to have Dominion right after. And we're all very excited, weren't we, Mags? And then we actually got here.
Oh,
and I still feel like Hiromu.
It was the biggest swerve in such a long time in wrestling. I love being swerved. I love not knowing what's happening. And
Yeah.
New Japan had every one of us they just twisted the knife in. People that were happy because New Japan were back, and Gedo giveth and Gedo taketh away.
Boy, did he ever. That is the theme. The theme is shook, a swerve, and Gedo giveth and Gedo taketh away. So fast. Okay, so we have to start at the beginning. So we obviously know the results of the New Japan Cup. We know the results of Dominion. But I want to go back for a brief second just to chit-chat about the New Japan Cup itself, because it was such a different cup than we're used to. Obviously, due to the times, it was different. But also the competitors, right? We're missing a lot of people right now due to this coronavirus situation and travel restrictions. So we had this amazing cup. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. But we have to talk about maybe some of our favorites and then briefly touch on the finals, because that happened and we need to talk about that. So let's first start with your overall feel on the New Japan Cup this year in 2020 and some of your favorite things.
Yeah, it's been weird, but weird in the very, very best sense. New Japan don't do cups like this. They don't mix the divisions. They don't mix the young lions and the veteran wrestlers. And it just feels like they've had to use what talent they've got available, and they've thrown together a hodgepodge New Japan Cup, and it's absolutely worked. The young lions that have been involved have had an amazing time to shine. Suji and Gabriel Kidd have been absolutely outstanding all the way through not just the tournament, but in the tag matches as well. Seeing the juniors and the heavyweights battle each other in singles competition, you never see that, apart from the one time at the anniversary show. And we've had that multiple times. We had Taiji Ishimori having a great match with Okada. We had Ishii really take on the juniors when he took Desperado and Hiromu on. It's been absolutely amazing. The one kind of like fly in the ointment was White Toast Yoshihashi, obviously, but all in all, it's been so interesting to watch. And then especially when we had the bracket buster of a winner.
Well, isn't that the truth? But you know, the thing is, I feel like the bracket was busted for a lot of us relatively early on.
I was out.
Excuse me?
I mean, the left side of the bracket, I pretty much pinned it all, apart from Suzuki going out early doors. But the right side of the bracket, nobody predicted that properly. If you predicted Evil getting through to the final, my hat's off to you because that is an outstanding prediction.
Outstanding. You should play the lottery. So it's just lucky, like if you picked Evil to win. Yes, I totally agree. It was such a unique cup and something new from New Japan, and that's a beautiful thing to see. The amount of times that they used the young lions throughout not only the cup but now, as we know, in Dominion as well. It's been a beautiful progression to see them kind of getting and mixing it up in with like the New Japan dads and just having a grand old time. And I think sort of the standouts for me, the MVP for me of this tournament is Hiromu. I think he just was a complete standout the entire time. And then, of course, our fave, the Stone Pitbull Ishii. I mean, this is the classic case of always the bridesmaid, never a bride. I really wanted him to win because I wanted him to go for the IC title. I'm firmly in that camp. But now, since we can't do that, now I'm in the U.S. Championship camp for our boy Ishii.
Yeah, I think I feel so bad for Ishii because in any other era of wrestling, he would have been a world champion multiple times over. It's just that he's been around in the Naito, Tanahashi, Okada, and Mega era where he's just had such amazing talent above him that he just can't get over that last hump.
Yeah, I know it. But I think he did really well, as he always does. You know, you can always count on Ishii to put on a great match. And we saw some fun stuff in this cup, a lot of great matches. You know, but Gato likes to mess with us, and Yoshihashi made it 2 rounds. How? I'll never tell you. I don't understand how that's possible. But
that
then he...
bottom right quadrant
Come on.
It was the worst book quadrant ever.
It was
It was just talentless.
Full of talent. I'm like, how does Yoshihashi beat Bushi? How does Evil beat Goto? What is happening here? I hated everything about it. But anywho, as we move forward, let's talk about the finals. So the semifinals rather, we had Hiromu versus Okada in an absolute banger, which Okada obviously wins. And then we had Evil versus Sonata, which was a cool story. And I hope we kind of go back to this. So let's put a pin in that and talk about it later. So we get Okada and Evil in the finals. And I don't know about you, but for me right away, I was like, oh, okay, well, Okada's going to go over. He'll win 2 years in a row, and we'll get a rematch for Naito. Maybe they'll do something else with the other belts. I don't know. Let's see what happens. In no way, shape, or form did I think Evil would go over Okada and freaking pin him. Him.
Absolutely not. And I think this is the beauty of the way not only New Japan book matches, but the way that the programming is structured. Obviously, they don't have a week-to-week product here in the West, so they've been able to kind of refresh with this COVID era, and obviously we saw that with Evil's character before this pandemic. He was kind of floating. He had no real direction. He was just a member of LRJ. He wasn't tagging with Sonata as much. Sonata was on this kind of like downtrodden, despondent storyline, and Evil was just a person in a group. And the way that they've been able to kind of in 48 hours transform him into the hottest thing in wrestling, the most talked about thing in wrestling is. I've got to give it up to Gato for being able to do that, whether you like the booking or not. The fact is, Gato can tell a story.
Oh boy, can he ever? And it's one of the things we love so much about New Japan. And you're right, whether you like it or not, wow, what a transformation. And I feel like if you look back at the Cup, you can start to see, and even before obviously the COVID era, you could start to see LIJ having some issues, right? But in the Cup itself, like Naito came out to do the little LIJ salute, and Shingo was like, screw that, I'm out of here. And, you know, Hiromu seems to be kind of like the only loyal one left. And especially what we get post-match between Evil after he wins the Cup and defeats Okada, which I still can't believe is a sentence I'm saying. Then Naito comes out, offers him the salute to do the fist bump, right? And Evil puts his hand up. It looks cool. And then all of a sudden he lays out a big 2 sweet. And you're like, excuse me? First of all, Gato, you already have Evil winning the New Japan Cup. And now he's Bullet Club? What? How did this happen? It was so shocking leading into Dominion that it was absolutely must-see pay-per-view.
Yeah, absolutely. And the another great thing about New Japan is when you see a storyline come to fruition like this, you can go back and you can see where the seeds were planted. Sometimes years and years before, but you can go back and go, this was the plan. And like you said, Hiromu was the only loyal one, but even he kind of showed some disloyalty by wanting to challenge for both belts. The only one who was actually truly loyal was Evil. He was the first member of LRJ when Naito came back from Mexico. He was the first person who joined. He's always had Nato's back. There was some backstage interviews where Nato said if anybody could lead a faction out of this group, it would be Evil. So the seeds have always been planted there. We've just had to wait for this little tree to grow. Now, I don't believe that this was the plan from the beginning, but Gedo is good at leaving those little seeds growing away, and just I'll use that one now and pulling it in and creating a story out of it.
It's a magical thing, and I'm really glad that you brought that up. You're totally right. This is why you're here, Mags. All this dope information. But yeah, you're right. And it was so newsworthy, and it was all over our Twitter feeds and all over every wrestling news site ever that Evil had turned Bullet Club. And we're all like, wait a whole minute. Because Bullet Club, like everything else, is fractured because its other members are like not there. Namely, their leader, Jay White. So immediately my brain is like, okay, well, how does Jay White feel about this? That Evil joins Bullet Club, wins the cup, and now is going to challenge Naito at Dominion. So I'm like, okay, all right. So they got members in the U.S. and members in Japan. It kind of harkens back a little bit to kind of like the Elite time, where we had people like doing their own story in the U.S. and then everybody else in Japan. But obviously there's no storyline for these guys in the U.S. right now. So it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and it makes you think about what might happen with Bullet Club while everyone else is missing in action.
Yeah, and if you go back to when Naito first won the titles, who was the first person to challenge? It was Kenta.
That's right.
Who was an underling in Bullet Club. Now, does that kind of go against Jay White's power as leader? And then we have Evil, who's now the champ. Will he challenge for leadership? Can you really see somebody who holds both of the biggest belts in New Japan being controlled by someone who has no title? So it's going to be an interesting time when we get a full roster of New Japan back, where this goes for Bullet Club. Are we going to harken back to the OGs versus the Firing Squad?
I'm really interested in it. It's exciting, and I feel like Bullet Club's been needing this for a really long time, because I feel like Bullet Club has been suffering a lot once the Elite left, and kind of like, okay, we're in the Jay White era, and we're kind of picking things back up. It felt like we were going back to what was working before, and kind of getting back to the roots of New Japan and the roots of Bullet Club. And now we're in this really kind of tumultuous era again for them. So I think the storyline is going to be very interesting once things kick back up. But speaking of Dominion and Champ, let's talk about this, because literally the next night we have Dominion. And we have our matches in the front part of the card, and they were fine. They're your basic tag matches, right? Multiple man tag matches with some good stuff in there, don't get me wrong. But I don't really want to focus too much on that today, because I want to focus on the nitty-gritty. Okay? Let's talk about the 3 major matches that we got at Dominion, because this stuff sets the stage for what we're going to get next, and where and what direction New Japan might be going. Even though we say we might know, we never do, because Gato likes to pull the bait and switch. So we never saw Evil coming, didn't we?
Are you saying we're going to be skipping over the biggest news of Dominion, and that's Master Wato?
No, we're going to talk about him. We have to talk about him.
Because I'm happy to skip over Master Wato.
You don't like Wato, huh? Yeah. The only thing I really wanted to say about the beginning is, like, there's this guy that comes back, and I think he's good in the ring, but it's too much blue for me. I like some stuff, but not all things. I don't know. I'm not sure what this guy's going to turn into. It could be a little bit interesting.
Yeah, I don't like the character. I don't like the blue. Mm-hmm. I don't like how has he gone away for 3 years and looks younger than he did before he left?
He's just a little baby.
Yeah. His in-ring work was really good. You could see that kind of lucha libre style that he's picked up in Mexico. He's a really, really talented wrestler. But if you're coming back and you get beat up by Dookie, who is literally the whipping boy of Suzuki Goon, it's the only way is up for him, I suppose. And if he gets to kind of grow on me, I suppose I could end up liking him. And the fact that he's now under Tenzan's wing, he almost feels like he's gone back to being a young lion again.
It feels that way.
The New Japan dad looking after him. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But right now it's kind of a meh from me for Master Wato.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I think if he got rid of some of the blue, it would help a little bit. It just kind of looks silly. I think the coat can stay, and I think the hair can stay, but I think the tights, it would help if it was a different color. Because there's pops of color in there, but it needs some more. I find it distracting, because then I just think he's kind of comedy-esque, even though not technically supposed to be that way. So, I'll reserve judgment, as our pal JBQ always says, until things kind of flesh out, and we'll see.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, a good storyline with, I think he's facing Kanemaru next.
Yes.
In a bit of a storyline. Kanemaru's a very, very underrated wrestler. I think out of all the wrestlers who've come back from COVID, I think he's the one who looks the best. He's really got himself into a really good shape. So, yeah, a great storyline with Kanemaru could really elevate him and just see where it goes from there.
Absolutely. And the last thing I wanted to ask you about before we kind of dive into the big three here is I want to talk about Mr. Pimp here in Bullet Club. All right.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about this, because we had this match with him, Takahashi and Ishimori, versus Okada and Goto. It was a short match, nothing crazy. Firstly, very strange to see Okada in a match like this, A. B, we're gonna have the Tokyo Pimp versus Okada coming up soon, Max. How are we feeling about this?
Well, for some context, I watched this and I was in Queenie's hangouts, and I said before this match was even a thing, we're gonna get Tokyo Pimp versus Okada, just to rib, basically, just to say that's how far down the card Okada has fallen, just to me being my typical sarcastic British self. And it turns out I might be actually really psychic. So if you do need any lottery numbers, just hit me up at DAJ Kirby.
Mag's all-knowing pods is your new name.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But this again, if you watch the backstage videos, this is a seed that was planted 6 years ago when Takahashi turned on Chaos to join Bullet Club. He said that he's always hated Okada, that Okada's never given the respect that he was due in Chaos, and that he went and found that respect in Bullet Club, and now he's coming back to show he was never a bit part player. He was on Okada's level, which it's great storytelling. It's obviously a filler feud for Okada because he's clearly not going to be in the title picture for the foreseeable future. But yeah, it was just cool to see Takahashi picking up the win. If you look at the four competitors in that match, he's the one eating the pin for me. Yep. And the fact he went and pinned Goto is, yeah, it's refreshing that New Japan can do this. They can restart a storyline because they don't have a weekly product to have to follow on.
I know. I think it's really unique and fun. And I couldn't believe when you said that in our little chat. I just started cracking up because why would you ever think that would be a thing? And then he hits Pimp Juice, pins Goto, and then he attacks, of course, Okada after another Pimp Juice. And I'm just looking at the screen going, oh my God, Max, are you really Gato? Have you ever seen Mags and Gato in the same room? No, you haven't.
It was just the most shocking Dominion ever.
Yeah.
It really was.
It was so different than what you would expect. And you always expect some kind of swerve or some kind of thing that you weren't thinking may happen. Because that's New Japan and always gives you something. But like there were multiple from this cup to Dominion and to the end of Dominion, of course, which we will happily get to soon. So let's talk about this one, because I think after reflection, now that it's been a few days, I think this is the best match on the card, in my humble opinion. And that is, of course, Shingo Tagaki versus Sho for the Never Openweight Championship in 20-minute banger. Mags, let's talk about Shingo versus Sho.
You said it was best match of the night. I think it's in the argument for perhaps match of the year. These two cats have got just unbridled chemistry with each other. This has been one of those kind of feuds where you could watch them wrestle 20 times and never get bored of it. The guys can just go. They can do the hard, heavy-hitting shot battles. They can do the high-flying stuff. Shingo is almost... He can wrestle with absolutely anyone and get a great match out of it. And Sho is really breaking out as out of Roppongi 3K to be the star that everybody thought he would be.
Oh, you said that beautifully. And what the best part about it too is they were absolutely beating the ever living crap out of each other in this match. It just was banger, slap, throw, forearm, wildness for 20 full minutes. And it just, you felt like Sho had a real shot here to take this title, right? It felt like a matchup where it could go either way. And that's what I love about this performance that they both gave here. So hard hitting. Sho, the best out of Roppongi 3K, really rising to the occasion now that Yo is hurt. You know, he gets to have this little singles experience now. I think the Never is a great spot for him to kind of start breaking out and showing what he can do. Because, oh my gosh, what a match this was. I'm still not over it. I'm going to watch it again just because I enjoyed it so much. And I think you're right about their chemistry. Some people are just made to fight each other over and over and over and over and over again. And these two are that. They just are. I was a little sad for Sho, but like I love Shingo so much that I'm happy he retained at the same time. So I don't know how to really feel about it. I'm excited to see where Sho's going to go next. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Shingo. I mean, the Never title, I know people have like different opinions on and different feelings about, but I felt like recently from 2019 into now, it's really become an important belt in New Japan.
Yeah, I agree. And the history that Sho has with this title as well. He came back from excursion when this title was being introduced, so it almost felt like it was his divine right to win this title at Dominion. And again throws as a swerve ball, and he doesn't quite get it. But I agree with you that I think Shingo has kind of elevated this title more than the likes of Goto and Ishii did, and that's high praise. That's not
right.
Nothing bad against Goto and Ishii. I've always look at them and think they're in the Never title race. Everything's right in the wrestling world, but Shingo has kind of taken that title and really raised it, because, like I said, the Never title was a joke title for a long time, and now it's an important title. So yeah, it was a great feud. I think Sho maybe could go into like the singles for the junior heavyweights. I don't think he's quite ready to bulk up to the heavyweights yet. But yeah, then we saw Desperado coming out and challenging, which I think is a brilliant thing. I think it opens up the fact that the openweight title is exactly that. It's openweight, and a junior heavyweight like Desperado can come and challenge who let's call a spade, the heavyweight that is Shingo Takagi.
Oh, he really is, isn't he? Woo!
He's a barrel. That guy is a barrel with legs.
No, he sure is. I feel like I would never want to be hit by Shingo. That is not a bump I'm willing to take. Yes, I love that little Despy came out here and he was like, all right, I'm going to hit you with this title and then I'm going to take it from you. Now what? I'm like, all right, let's go. I feel like people have been sleeping on El Desperado for a while.
Yes.
And this is going to be really fun. Like, his match with Ishii in the Cup was one of my favorite matches of the whole entire Cup. So I feel like this is going to be very exciting. It's going to be hard-hitting and fast-paced on both, because Shingo, while he's huge and can really run you over, he can move. So this is going to be a great match. And then I saw today earlier too that I just remembered reading that Sho was talking about how he's going after Hiromu. So I think you're right with that. He was talking a little bit about, like, you know, he wants to catch up to where Hiromu is, because Hiromu does, you know, amazing things and has been, you know, champ multiple times and all that stuff. So I think that's a good spot for him to go for now. And I'm excited about the Never title picture. I think Shingo versus El Desperado is going to be great. So that was really fun. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good time, and I don't think it's going to be a disappointment at all. And I'm happy for that. I'm happy for that belt, and I'm happy for Shingo. I want a nice long title reign here where he really elevates this title so much that everybody wants to challenge him for it. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. So we'll see.
that sounds like a lot of fun and a great spot for Shingo to be.
Yeah, I think so too. And that leads us into our tag team match of the evening. The New Japan Golden Boys of Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi, who were the champs, versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi, your boy, Lord Taichi. Your boy. Oh boy. Anybody who slanders Taichi, you might not like this next segment. So, because our boy Mags is a big Taichi fan. So, yeah, wow. I was surprised, okay. I knew this match was going to be great because of the people involved. And I'm coming around on Taichi, but I liked his feud with Tanahashi from the Together show all the way to now. I liked their interaction, so I think this was going to be fun.
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, we've had some stellar tag matches this year. And I'm like, okay, let's see how we can do with New Japan. Because as we know, and you and I have talked about several times, this tag division is just, oh boy, it's just not where it needs to be. And, it was either always on Evil and Sonata or GOD. So we need some, new blood in here and get kind of excited about it again and build some more tag teams, because that's kind of where New Japan lacks. This stacked up as one of the best tag matches of 2020. It was really, really fun. How did you feel about it?
I felt that the best part of the match was the storytelling. The way the Dangerous Tekkers focused on destroying the knees of Tanahashi. Obviously, we all know that Tanahashi has had issues with his knees before. It's been used in quite a few storylines. But the fact that they just viciously went after it and dragon screw after dragon screw after dragon screw and just totally abused Tanahashi's knee. I love this. Suzuki-gun have been desperate for a tag team since Lance Archer left for AEW and Davey Boy left for MLW. So they've been desperate for a tag team, and they found one that fits together like a glove. I just love the interactions between Taichi and Suzuki, Zack Sabre Jr.
Yes.
The way they're almost like brothers. The way that they talk with each other, the backstage interviews that they do are just absolutely hilarious, where Taichi is always promising to take Zack out for some delicious vegetables, playing off his veganism. It's just, this was an outstanding match. I don't know if it's the best tag team match of the year. I still think that's probably the Bucks and the Mega Cowboys, but this was a damn good match and a damn fun result. Some fresh blood in that tag division is what is needed, and hopefully we'll see now new battles, maybe with God, maybe with Finn Juice. Chaos needs to form a tag team, so maybe something could be formed there. We just a fun match, and the right team won.
I agree, actually. Yes. And I also think this is a great spot for Taichi to go. I think him and Zack Sabre Jr. worked really well together. To your earlier point, they gel so well. And I kind of was just watching this match going, why wasn't this a thing sooner? Like, this should have been brought back sooner. Like, what's going on? It was really fun to watch and engaging. And I think you're right about the storytelling. It's so much fun to watch brutal, but fun to watch how they controlled Tana and Ibushi. And I'm watching the screen, and Taichi has one, and Zack Sabre Jr. has the other, both in submission holds. And I'm staring at the screen going, did you ever think that this was going to happen? It was beautifully done. And they were hard hitting and fast and brutal. What a fun tag match this was. And I think you're right. The way that they tore apart Tanahashi's knee to ultimately get that pin and become new tag champs. Boy, you could just feel Murder Grandpa's smile from his home watching this going on for his boys in Suzuki-gun.
You say that, but again, I'm going to link back to the backstage interviews. They did a full kind of Suzuki-gun interview with obviously Murder Grandpa's not there because he's ill, but Taichi was saying that it would be those 5 that would rule through New Japan. They're going to go for all the titles, and not one mention of Minoru Suzuki. It was all about the 5 that were there. So is there still dissension with Suzuki and New Japan? Is he on his way out? There was rumors about it late last year. Obviously, being ill might have put pay to that, but he also went out in the first round against Nagata. I don't think he's happy with his kind of place in New Japan, and could he be on his way out and we see Taichi-gun or Zack Sabre-gun?
Yeah, and I think you bring up a great point about the future of that faction. What are they going to do with that? And, outside of the storytelling right now, to your point about Suzuki's, rumor has it he's not happy with what's going on. So does he leave? And if so, who takes over Suzuki-gun? What does it become? Does it become Zack Sabre Jr.-gun or Taichi-gun? And I wonder what that would do to their partnership. So that's another intriguing thing going on with our factions. We have Bullet Club stuff, LIJ stuff, and Suzuki-gun stuff. So I think it's going to be a tumultuous run through the rest of 2020, put it that way. We're going to see some shifts and some changes in leadership, and I think that's going to be fun. I don't know who I'd want more. I kind of feel like it's Zack Sabre Jr.'s time to shine as a leader, but I don't know, Mags. I don't know.
Taichi has had one of the best 12 months in all of New Japan, possibly in the world. To go from being essentially a jobber to having these big feuds with the New Japan Elite and not looking out of place in those feuds, really looking like he should be there. I think we might see Taichi-gun.
Ooh. Well, I know you'd be very happy with that. Everybody else would be like, no!
He's the Baron Corbin of New Japan.
He is the Baron Corbin of New Japan, but you know what? I don't like Baron Corbin more, so Taichi, you get a pass, buddy. It's true. So as they clean and disinfect the ring for the main event, we have this really strong kind of video package to set this up. And you know what's interesting? When this all happened the night before, when Evil wins and he turns Bullet Club and stuff, it felt so sudden and so jarring that you kind of forget what you had brought up earlier about Evil being like the first one and ultimate loyalty to LIJ and Naito. And they kind of take you through the footage of them through the years. And then it ended up obviously showing what had occurred the day before at the New Japan Cup finals. I just think it was really interesting because you knew, like, I don't know about you, but as soon as he turned Bullet Club, I was like, okay, he's going to have a new vibe in some ways, right? He'll still keep probably his colors, but definitely a new vibe as Evil Bullet Club, right? We're not going to get the same Evil that we had in LIJ. And then he comes out, he's changed up his look with the hair in his face, dyed purple, white, red kind of vibes, new music, new gear. Mr. Warren Hayes, I had the honor of being on his show to recap Dominion right after Dominion, and he said he looked like a centurion. And I didn't even really think about that before, but I think that's correct. It looked like a Roman centurion style gear.
My first thought was he looked like he'd borrowed Awesome Kong's wrestling.
It does look like that, yes. I liked the whole vibe minus the skirt part. I didn't think he really needed it. But he also ditched the eye makeup. His face was relatively clean. He had freshly buzzed sides of his hair, and he looks different. And I said, "Oh, okay. So we're really embracing this new look." And then, of course, out comes Naito in his all black suit with double belts. What was your first impression of the new Evil?
I thought it was a great departure from the evil of LRJ. If you want to make a statement that you're different, that you broke away, you have to change pretty much everything. He didn't come out with the massive South props. He was just all business. He looked all business. I love the way that he normally has his hair back in a scrunchie. This was down. He just looked like he was ready to absolutely destroy someone, and destroy someone he eventually did.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's go there. So this match happened. It was my least favorite. I thought there was a lot of sloppy parts. Evil tried to break my heart by snapping the scythe of our dear Milano and throwing it at him, and Milano jumped that barrier and went right after Evil, and Evil threw him right into that barricade, and our collective hearts were like, no! He looked so heartbroken and sad. Oh, it was terrible. And I don't know, as this match progressed and it started getting longer and longer and we're approaching 30 minutes, I just got this bad gut feeling that something bad was going to happen, and I go, oh, shit. He's going to lose the titles, isn't he? He's going to lose them here. They shocked us last night. He turned Bullet Club, and he's going to take the freaking titles from Naito. It's going to happen. And sure enough, everything is apparently evil because he pinned Naito. And there were shenanigans. I think there were too many shenanigans for me personally. And Naito only had Hiromu, for his defense. We had fake Bushi. There was a lot going on here. And my God, we need to talk about it. So tell me, what did you think? Because overall for me, I really didn't like the match. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. So that's kind of how I felt about it.
Yeah, and again, this is New Japan planting seeds that you realize after the fact. If you look at Evil's match with Sonada, then his match with Okada, he didn't have a good last run in the tournament, and he didn't have a good match in terms of wrestling quality, but he was brutal. He cheated as much as he could. He broke chairs. He really focused on the weak parts of his opponents with the knees of Naito. I would have thought that Naito would have done a better job of selling it, because he got his knee absolutely obliterated. Then 10 minutes later, he was doing moves off the top rope, which I thought, come on, that could have been sold a little bit more. But yeah, the shenanigans were when New Japan have run-ins like that, they tend to always go overboard, especially with Bullet Club. Bullet Clubs have always been multiple people coming out. The Bushi, straight away we knew that wasn't Bushi, because unless Bushi is packed on the pound in the last couple of days, it was definitely not Bushi. It turned out to be Dick Togo, why he's been added to it, I'm sure we'll find out. But I want to deposit a theory for you, Queen.
Okay.
Now, everybody, or the majority of New Japan fans were so glad that Naito had finally had his redemption arc. 3 years, 3 years where he was out in the wilderness, really despondent, got back to the top of the tree, everyone was happy. I want to put it to you that Naito is New Japan's Steve Austin.
Oh.
The reason I say that is you are more invested with Naito when he's chasing the title than you are with him as a champion. All his runs as champion have been relatively short. If you look at Steve Austin's runs as WWF champion, in all 6 of them, the longest run he had was 5 months, which is around about the length that Naito has had this title, I think that this is the modern day equivalent of Austin versus McMahon, where Gedo is McMahon
Ooh.
and Naito is Steve Austin. We're always going to have this where Naito reaches the pinnacle, then something else knocks him down.
Wow. Well, this is Mags, all-knowing pots, dropping crazy wisdom and interesting theories here on Queen's Court today, blowing my mind. I didn't think about that. You know what? It's so weird. That feud with McMahon and Austin is like one of the most talked about stories in his career, obviously, but in the Attitude Era itself. And that never occurred to me once that that's what's kind of going on here. That Gedo just doesn't like the guy. And he's like, nope, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this experience for him where he's going to reach for the pinnacle, be the guy, and then I'm going to snatch it away from him. And then he's going to chase again, and you're all going to get invested, and you're going to love the guy. He's going to reach the pinnacle, get the gold, and then I'm going to knock him out again. Oh, my God, Mags.
Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. Jeez. I was not thinking that's what you were going to say. Okay. So, wow. So, Naito in the chase, better than Naito as champ. Kind of how I feel about Kenny Omega, too. Similar.
Exactly.
I love Kenny in the chase. Kenny as champ is always a good thing, right? Because any match with Kenny in it is going to be great. And, you know, whether it's regular matches with Kenny or his crazy 5+ star matches that he has, right? No matter what it is, he's one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world, next to a few other people. But I prefer him going after the belt than having the belt. Because the storyline is better. And is that true with Naito as well? I think yes. Could be the answer there. How long did it take Naito to finally get here, to be the pinnacle of pinnacles, to be the man who was champ, both belts? And then, of course, I said this to Warren, and I said this to somebody else too. I go, well, and then, of course, COVID happened to ruin Naito's reign. Because it's Naito. So, like, of course. That makes so much sense. My mind is blown.
See, I'm not just a pretty face. I do have
a
little bit of brains in my head as well. Yeah, it was just him losing, and obviously we got the feeling halfway through the match, this is going to happen. Evil had just joined Bullet Club. You don't make a big move like that and not have a payoff unless you're Lance Archer in AEW. So it kind of dawned on us that this was happening, and the fact that Naito's run is so short again, the fact that everybody loves Naito, the fact that everybody wants him as champion, and Gedo keeps like pulling him away from those titles and keeps yanking the rug from underneath him. It just screamed out to me. That's exactly what Vince McMahon used to do with Stone Cold. Every time Stone Cold was on the verge of being the man, McMahon would throw another obstacle in his way, and it's clear what he's done. I mean, if you look back to Wrestle Kingdom, he was on the top of the world and gets attacked on the day of Wrestle Kingdom. That's McMahon booking. That's McMahon saying, you've got exactly what you wanted, fans, but this is now going to happen.
Wow. Amazing. It's amazing to think about, too. And I'll ask you a question in return. Not nearly as mind-blowing, but still I'm curious as to your opinion. So this match that it ended up being for both belts. And now Evil is champ, but he also has another belt, which I'm sure will be dealt with down the line. But would you have preferred, or are you okay with the fact that they did two belts? Or would you have preferred the winner of the New Japan Cup to challenge for the heavyweight title, Naito to still be the Intercontinental IC, and then fight someone else? Are you okay with it continuing being a dual belt situation? I guess is the ultimate question.
I didn't like it being a dual belt situation from the very beginning when the whole double gold dash was brought up. Putting two titles, especially two like prestigious titles like these on one person, it kind of stunts the whole of the company. You've the aim of the titles is you have divisions. That if you can get to the Intercontinental title, then you move into the heavyweight title.
Right.
And I think having one person have both titles, it means that you're going to have some shenanigans to get one title off that person, and for them to have the other title. It's going to be weird booking. I would presume the easiest way of having it is if somebody says I want a specific title, or they book a three-way where one pin is for the RC title and one pin is for the world title, kind of like how they did with Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, and Benoit back in the Attitude Era.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm most curious about too is now where do we go, right? So you mentioned it. Dick Togo was revealed. We don't know why, but I'm assuming we'll find out. Hiromu, came in to help Naito and then stays later in the ring and like loses his mind and has like this promo like on Evil basically challenging him and saying if you're too scared to put both titles on the line, put one title on the line, and I'm gonna come take what you took away and all this stuff. And then he's screaming, freaking out in the ring, huge meltdown. Evil blows him off, even in the press conference later, blows him off, but says, fine, like, I'll crush you at any point in time. I guess, like, now, where do we think some of this storyline is going to go? Because we have a new event coming up, Sengoku Lord, and they're going to battle. Double titles, though. For both titles, Evil versus Hiromu. We have the Never match, Shingo and El Desperado. We have Okada versus Takahashi, the Tokyo Pimp. We have a multi-man match, which is Kotobushi, Tanahashi, Master Wato, Tenzan, Nagata versus Zack Sabre Jr., Taichi. Suzuki will be back, and Kanemaru and Dookie. We have Sho, Yoshihashi, Boo, and Goto versus Naito, Sanada, and Bushi. We have another multi-man match, Taguchi, Hanma, Makabe, Kojima versus Ishii, Yano, Yoda, and Gabriel Kidd. Oh, both Young Lions will be in that match. And then Ishimori and Yuya, who is another Young Lion. So that's going to be happening on Saturday the 25th. That's what we're getting for the next kind of event post-Dominion. So what are we thinking about kind of the fallout of this? Is Evil going to rise to his booking? There's a lot of question marks here, Mags.
Yeah, I think the fact that Hiromu is also the junior champion, it kind of telegraphs the result here. I think if it would have just been for one title, if it would have just been for perhaps the RC title, then I could see them switching that title to Hiromu and then kind of breaking that up, and then maybe Hiromu dropping the juniors because he wants to move up to the heavyweights.
Sure.
But the fact that the both titles are on the line, it kind of does telegraph the fact that Hiromu is going to win. But throwing a little bit of history at you,
yeah,
Hiromu and Evil have actually faced off 20 times before. And what do you think the record is?
Not in Evil's favor.
It's 0-20.
He's lost every single one?
Hiromu was beat Evil every single time. So Evil's got that kind of hurdle to get over. The fact that New Japan do lean into this history a lot. There was mention of Ishimori not being able to beat Kanemaru, and that was from a totally different company, and it was still mentioned on New Japan programming. So there is going to be that hurdle for Evil to get over. I think he's going to do it. I think it would be an even bigger swerve than Evil beating Naito if Hiromu walked out of there as Hiromu 3 belts. But what a story it would be if it happened. I
would lose my mind. Even more so than I did after Dominion. I felt like Hiromu after Dominion. I was so angry. But
Poor
Oh, could you
Hiromu.
imagine? Poor Hiromu.
What a comeback though from such
Ooh.
a career-threatening injury
Yes.
to being just the most charismatic wrestler in the world without doubt, and that heartfelt kind of emotional breakdown from him, it was just I wanted to cry alongside him,
Me too.
but it was interesting that nobody else came out to
No
kind of
one.
help. I mean,
Not a
we know
single person. Where were anybody else?
we know they've obviously issues with Sonada. He's feeling very despondent. We saw in earlier in the cup, Shingo wasn't wanting to do
Right.
the roll call fist bump. Is LRJ? Is it going to split? Is there kind of like tension in there? Who knows? I'm sure we'll see.
I know. It very much feels like the opposite of what Cody used to say, which was Bullet Club is fine, right? I feel like now that's true, and LIJ is not fine. So it kind of feels like something bad is going to happen. And, Hiromu came out with that tape, and all over his wrist tape, it just said "why" written all over it. The storyline that they're pulling with Hiromu and his comeback and his performance in the cup and his challenging for the belts, and because they were going to do Naito versus Hiromu too, don't forget. So it feels like
Show.
right. So it just feels like it's possible. And now you put the history on me, and I'm going, oh man, if this is the one time Evil wins over Hiromu and his record is 1-20. This is crap.
It's almost like the Undertaker streak, but in reverse.
Yeah, but in reverse. So this is why I don't I don't buy Evil as champ. I just don't. I'm sorry, everybody. Listen, I love Bullet Club. They're my favorite faction, but I can't handle this. I can't do it. So I'm hoping that I'm going to trust in Gato and believe that there's a purpose for this, and maybe it's just to give Hiromu all the belts, and then we can all celebrate. I don't know.
Just every single belt.
All the belts. Just give it all to Hiromu, and then put one on Daryl, and we'll have a good time.
Yeah, well, Daryl could be the Never Six Man because
He can, yes.
we don't know where that's going.
We have no idea.
It's almost been like, how do we get this title off Evil? I would love for Evil to just rock up with Shingo and Bushi and defend the title as if nothing's changed.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious. I would like that too. Well, see what they do. You never know what might happen when you turn on New Japan early in the morning, and a great time for you over there in the UK to actually watch some wrestling and not be up teen hours. So New Japan time.
This weekend with Dominion and UFC, I think
yes.
It was brutal. UFC didn't finish till like 6:30 that morning, and Dominion started at 7. So I think I did 29 hours or something like that without sleep.
You're a champion. You're a complete champion. We have such respect. We don't know how you do that. I think Tanner and I were talking about that. Tanner Steven and I were talking about how you did all those hours, and I was like, he's Mags All Pods. It's what he does.
It just reminded me of WrestleMania a couple of years ago, where I was podcasting before watching WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania is the record. I got like 40 hours almost.
Can't believe it.
WrestleMania.
Oh.
It's the laugh that you have on this side of the pond when wrestling's on at stupid o'clock.
And at stupid o'clock is for sure. Well, you're a champion, and I am so glad that you came on here to talk New Japan with me, because man, you blew my mind with that Steve Austin McMahon thing. I'm still shook about it. Now I'm running it through my brain going, oh my God, this is so true. So thanks for that. And thanks for hanging out with me and chit-chatting about the Cup and Dominion and ultimately what will happen next. I'm excited. I'm glad New Japan is back. I think we can agree on that. And I think, we'll see what they do with everything is Evil Club now.
I do. One thing I will give Evil, that new Evil Club t-shirt is badass. I think
it's awesome.
Definitely picking one of those up.
I think I probably will too, because it is really cool. But I'd be probably a hypocrite because I don't like Evil. So we'll see. We'll see what we do. But anyway, thanks so much for coming on the show with me today and recapping all of this New Japan news, because there's so much. So let the people know where to find you if they don't know already, and tell us what's going on in your world.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, this has been an absolute pleasure. We don't get to collab near enough for my liking. It's awesome when we get a chance to just shoot the shit with wrestling, and it's amazing being a stable mate with you again on Smark. It's cool harkening back to the days of yore. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at DJ Kirby. I'm usually in some sort of argument or throwing some crazy wrestling takes out. I have 3 podcasts that I produce. It's 5 Rounds, which is about UFC. I do that with my son Carlos. Then I have Badlands, which is me and my podcast wife, Mr. Paul Toller, where we discuss the Mount Rushmores of wrestling, change it up every week with a different topic and a different guest, and just have a good laugh and joke at the expense of really absurd, ridiculous wrestling. And then my baby podcast is Why We Watch, where I speak to content creators and fans and find out why they love watching people in their underpants pretending to fart. You can find them anywhere that you get your podcasts. And like I said, I'm part of the Smart to Death Radio Network now. All 3 shows are on there on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So I'm all over the Smart to Death schedule. So yeah, come check me out and give me a listen.
Definitely do that. Badlands is my favorite. I love your other 2, but Badlands is my favorite. So I hope everyone goes and listens. And Magsy, thanks again. Such a pleasure. And for everyone else that's listening, have a great rest of your day. And please continue to be kind to one another.